All right, let's do our big gear change over to Pinpoint. So it looks like we had some folks who have used it. If you have used it, I'd love if you wouldn't mind sharing how you've used it or what you used it for, what your experience was. I think
Anyone?
the person in the yellow shirt. Yes, that's what I remember. You put your hand up.
I've only sort of like experimented around with it and whatnot, but trying to like think of it as a central repository to host a lot of my stuff, because already I keep like a lot of documents and things I'm working on in Drive. So especially if it's PDF based or whatever, definitely helps, you know, index and make that searchable. And then also I had been using Otter for transcriptions, like live and die by that for, you know, interviews and whatnot. But I know that Pinpoint can do some of that too. So playing around with a little bit of that as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that wonderful commercial for Pinpoint. You just highlighted so many of the things that I want to show you. And I see a hand up in the front also. Is there something you wanted to share?
Oh,
you good?
Transcriptions also.
Yeah, mine was also for transcription. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. So that is a way that a lot of folks find their way into this tool. It's a free tool. It's only available to journalists and researchers, and it does audio and video transcription. It does it in multiple languages, and it does it pretty well. So sometimes that's the reason you might use it, and that's wonderful. That's part of why we created it. The way that I think about it, and it was built for the unique work of journalists, and I think specifically what you all are doing like fits right into just like the heart of what Pinpoint is for, is lots of documents, lots of things from different sources, making sense of it all, right? And then of course, reporting out your stories. So we want it to be helpful, and it has been iterated so much. Just even in my time with Google, it existed before I started here. It's maybe about 4 years old, which is pretty new. Many folks do not know about it, and I love to show it because it is just so powerful. And again, we want it to be helpful. So if there are things about it that you wish it did, that you say, I can't use it until it does X, Y, or Z, or it really helped me, you know, it saved me 5 hours of transcribing something, whatever that might be. We love to know all of that. So your feedback is very, very welcome and solicited. Okay, so I'm going to show you some slides and just kind of talk through it, and then we'll go into the tool and we'll look around. You can access it if you want to even just see if you have access right away at g.co/pinpoint, or you can just Google Pinpoint. You may have an account if your organization uses what we would call Gmail for work. Well, we would call it Workspace, but that's what I call it, right? If your work email is Gmail, you might already have a Pinpoint account. Your admin may have just said anybody can use this. If you don't, that's also fine. You can just sign up for an account with any Google account, so your Gmail. And then the team has an internal goal of getting back to journalists within 24 hours. Because it's Friday, that probably won't happen until early next week, but you should be able to get your hands on it very, very quickly if it's something that you might use. We also have a brand new generative AI feature inside of Pinpoint, which I'll show you. That is a beta that you need to request access to as well. And I've included that. It's all here on the cheat sheet. So where to just simply sign up for Pinpoint, and then if you want to use that beta, you can get in line. And I would say if you think that's interesting, go ahead and put your name in for the beta. So you have to have a Pinpoint account already to do that. So that's just a little bit of like kind of how do I use it. These are some of the use cases that we have thought of for Pinpoint, or when we created it, and then also what people have used it for. So investigative work, lots of really interesting case studies. I'll show you some of those. Breaking news analysis, going back into documents that you've been collecting for a long time. Like we heard the example of putting stuff in Drive, right? So I've thought of the kind of at the local news level, maybe you're the city council reporter. You all are not, but people are. And they're just collecting every meeting agenda, every meeting video that was on Zoom that got posted on YouTube, every set of notes that comes out of the meeting. And so you just, if you do that and you create these repositories, not just for a specific story, but over time, you can then go lean on that as news breaks, right? So it can be, when's the last time the school board brought up teacher salaries? I could search through all of my notes and very quickly find that, all in the kind of Pinpoint collection of documents. I want to also talk about space. So when you sign up for an account, you get, I think, 2 gigs right away. Again, because we want it to be helpful. If you're using it regularly and you need more space, please reach out to the team. They would love to give you more space. It also will not detract from like your Gmail and Drive space. So if in your personal Gmail, you're constantly at like 92% full, which I am, it's not going to be connected to that. It's a separate thing. Transcriptions, audio and video files can be up to 2 hours long. If you have something longer, just cut it into smaller pieces and let all of those transcribe. And a document collection can hold up to 200,000 documents, not 200,000 pages, but documents, and those can be bigger than that. So it's very, very robust for collecting a whole bunch of things. And then once all those are together in that collection, you can search through them really quickly. It's going to analyze them and tell you what's there a little bit. I'll show you what that means. And then you can search through for specific words, phrases. It will search handwriting. It will search text within a photo. Lots of really powerful ways of searching through your collections. And then I end up saying the word documents a lot, and it feels like it kind of loses its meaning. So I like to pause here and just show you the different file types that it does support. So we heard, of course, that it does transcription, audio, and relatively new video as well. It will turn a video into a transcription, and it turns it into a PDF. And as soon as you upload those files, it's going to just start working on that right away because it understands that's what you want it to do. PowerPoints, again, we talked about the military loves to share information in PowerPoints. If you've got those collected, toss them in. Email archives, so public records requests, if you get them back like this. And if you get them back in all kinds of weird formats, whether that's a file type format or even they're just sort of photocopied sideways or they're not in great shape, everything will still be searchable. It will find all of the characters and let you sort through them. Okay, we talked about transcription. The other thing that you can do sort of inside that transcript is search for the thing that you're looking for. So for example, you did an interview, you toss the MP3 into Pinpoint, you let it transcribe, you start working on your story, and then you go back and you go, I know this is the quote I want because they said this word or they talked about that person. Quickly search through the transcript and it's going to take you to that exact point in the audio where it was spoken. So there's no more scrubbing around and trying to find it. You can just quickly re-listen to exactly where that happened, clean it up as needed, and bring it into your story really, really quickly. There is a pretty new feature that allows you to extract structured data off of PDFs. This also will probably be interesting to some of you. Not every reporter needs this, but when you do, it is a huge time saver. So if you have a bunch of similarly structured PDFs, like campaign finance forms or 990s for nonprofits, or you name it, you all probably have even better examples than I do. You will annotate one and it will pull all of the related information off of all of those simultaneously. And I will show you that. I don't like to say that technology is magic, but that one kind of feels like magic. So, and it will turn it into a CSV file that you can then go work with. So this is just a couple of GIFs that kind of will show this. Again, I'll do this live for us. So you just annotate really quickly, and this will all become extractable and downloadable into spreadsheets. It'll do a table, and then this is how we pull it out. So you don't have to remember all that. One, I'm going to show you. Two, there's excellent video that if you're going to do this, you can just watch it and feel comfortable doing so. This question has probably bubbled up in your minds already, sort of privacy, security, and collaboration. So just to talk through first the collaboration point, you can share document collections with anyone. It's just like sharing a Google Doc. They can be a viewer or an editor. And so that's really nice to share with your colleagues, with your editor, show them where the CQ lives. And you can now also share things publicly. So this is new and very cool too. And I'll show you what some of those look like. So if you've done a bunch of work pulling together documents that you want to make available for your audience or for anyone else, you can now do that. And there are lots of big organizations doing so. You know, we have the AP reporter in here. There's some great stuff from the AP that I'll show y'all. So that can be really nice. But everything that you upload into Pinpoint is private to you and you alone, unless you choose to share it with someone. And it's very hard to do that accidentally. Again, it's like a Google Doc. Publishing publicly is an even further set of steps. So it's just important to emphasize they're yours. They're only yours. Google is not looking at them. We're not putting them in search results. We're not training models on them. They're yours. However, if there are documents that are so close to the vest that you wouldn't put them in email and you wouldn't put them in Drive, they probably also don't belong in Pinpoint because it has the same level of privacy and security that those tools do. So I want to be really clear about that because I know it's important. Are there any questions on that or anything else? I know I'm saying a lot at the moment. Okay. Cool. I mentioned generative AI. I'll show you what that looks like. It allows you to use AI to ask questions of your document collection. So if you just got a bunch of stuff and you don't know what's in there yet, and it's going to take you a long time to read through it, you can just start going, what are the key themes? Please summarize this for me, right? Or whatever those questions might look like. This is about a month or two old. It's getting better all the time, but can be really powerful for a lot of those just huge what's here, right? What do I have? I'll tell you a couple case studies and then we'll get into the tool. So the Tampa Bay Times used it in this Pulitzer-winning series on a smelted lead plant in Tampa. All the documents that they took in. The Globe used it also in their Pulitzer-winning series from 2020 on dangerous drivers. Maria Ressa has used it since its inception, which I think says a lot about how trustworthy it is as a tool. And again, it was built for journalists and for the unique work that you all do. So if it doesn't feel like you can use it, then we want to know about that, right? Because we want it to feel secure enough that you can use it for what it was designed to do. This is an interesting case study out of Mexico, which is comparing sort of what the government said, the president said, with what he actually said, because they created a transcript as he was speaking. And so this is for real-time fact checking. You said he said this, but I have the transcript that said that. I can very quickly write something on that, right? Or searching through as maybe a State of the Union is happening. What do I have on this? What do I know what is actually true versus how this is being spun? And so you could, maybe that's a series of tweets or maybe it's a story, but using the power of how quickly you can search through reams of documents to find that thing that allows you to write that story on deadline. The Post has used it for a number of years. I believe they continue to use it for a lot of the January 6th documents. If you think about a collection like that, it's going to have a lot of stuff in there at this point. And those might be photos. They're, of course, congressional reports, lots and lots of documents to help make sense of that day and that story as it continues to even evolve even now. One more, and then we'll go look at the tool. This is from my former newsroom in Kevin's and Ann's. I think of this as like a classic USA Today story, which is essentially what is the state of X in all 50 states? And the investigative team had been using Pinpoint and still is for a number of years. And so this is putting out public records requests in all the states. They didn't get everything back that they asked for, but they got a lot. And it was, what's happening in nursing homes related to COVID? This is from 2020. And so what Marissa Kwiatkowski told us about the use of the tool was not just like, help me find where my story is in all of these tens of thousands of documents, but which ones don't I need? What can I just take and set aside? If I've got 50,000 documents, I'm only going to need maybe 300. And so I can just start to kind of move out some of the other stuff, right? So just really helping you narrow in on what it is you're looking for. Okay, enough talking about the tool. Let's go look at it. So this is Pinpoint homepage. There's a case studies tab if you want to learn more about that. There's some videos and cool stuff there. This is also where you can apply for that Gen AI access. And let's just go on into the tool. Pardon me as I log in. So the first thing I want to show you is the Explore page. This is where the public collections live. There's so much good stuff here, y'all. Even if you're not going to upload documents into it, you can get stories right out of here. So I just opened this up yesterday. There's new collections from the Times. We can look for presidential candidates. Here's what Reuters has shared. Here's what the AP has shared. All kinds of stuff that maybe you're also collecting. One kind of interesting way I've thought about using this, let's just go into this Reuters collection. So there's 10 documents in here. Again, there can be up to 200,000. There's a little intro. Here's kind of what we see. If I go into any of these one documents, I can now download this if I wish. So I can go onto the 3 dots menu in the upper right and download this file. This might be just a great way of bolstering your own collection, right? Oh, I'm missing that one thing, or it's so much easier to find it from Reuters than it is to go hunt it down wherever it might live, somewhere else on the web. So you could do that. You could start a collection like based off of someone else's, right? So interesting things here to be found. Let's go look at some of the AP collections because I like what's there, and they're updating pretty regularly. These are all the organizations. So first I searched through them and now I'm just looking at what's here. Just go to the AP. So we've got documents from the Maine shooting last fall, lots of documents from the Lahaina wildfires last year. These are really interesting. I'm certain that these must have been records requests for the body cam video and the 911 calls. I don't know if they used Pinpoint to do the transcriptions or not, but it's certainly possible. And then I'm just going to go into this larger collection, investigation into the wildfires. So lots of documents here. Just want to show you a little bit of what this looks like. So we see all the documents, there's 98. If we look at this right-hand bar, we get what we always get with any collection. Even if you upload just a single document, it's going to pull out every name, every organization, and every location. So this is what we call entity extraction. And this is very, very good. It doesn't always know that two people whose names might appear differently are the same person, and we can't teach it that. I get that question a lot. But it does know if someone's a public figure that all the different ways of referencing their name are still the same person. The same way that Google knows that President Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, JFK, all one guy. So it's going to do its best to pull out all these people, and they're all clickable. So what this means is if I go to any one person, I'm actually do this for organizations. So if I click on FEMA, it's going to show me every document in this collection that references FEMA. And so I can just start to really search through and narrow down. Of course, I can search up here and I can search for FEMA a different way. I get the same result. Or maybe I only want it referenced in that way. Again, your Boolean search terms will work here. So if it's coming up with some extra stuff, just do a minus and take all that out. And so this is how we can start to really make sense of what we have, right? So I'm looking for in my collection of documents, every time this person or this developer or this particular phrase is used, and I want to look at all of those, you can search through all of that. We also get dates. This is new. These are extrapolated dates. So just to show you what that means, I'm going to look at last year from the first of the year through the 1st of August, because these wildfires were, I think they were August 6th, right around there. And so what's happening here is the dates are understood by Google in all kinds of different formats. I'm still got FEMA in my search. So we can see, of course, dates are written out in sometimes an AP style way. They're written out in these numerical ways. Sometimes it's just a month and a year. All of these things Google understands to be dates. So your documents don't have to be dated. You don't have to do anything to them. If there is a date on it, it's going to just be understood so that you can go, I only want the stuff from this 1 month. Or if it's archival material, I only want things from the 80s, whatever that might look like. So that's new and pretty powerful as well. Questions about what we're seeing at the moment?
Hi, Akela with Bloomberg.
Hi.
I'm curious what, if any, protections do journalists have when they're uploading things onto Pinpoint? Do we still retain ownership of them? Like, what's kind of like the fine print when you say accept all?
Accept all. What was that last part?
Or accept conditions, like terms and conditions, essentially.
Oh, I don't know what they say. So I would say take a look at them. They are yours. So once you upload them, they're not like going anywhere else. They don't become Google. It's the way that I think of it is sort of like you're responsible for what's there. So somebody asked me, for example, what if somebody posts a document that they didn't have the copyright for, something like that? That belongs to the ownership of the person, the organization where it came from. So the other side of that coin is they're yours, right? You're responsible for them and they belong to you. Well, all the things that means. kind of like when someone comments on a website, that comment belongs to them. It doesn't become the content of the organization where it was uploaded. So this is another way of thinking about it. Does that kind of answer the question? I guess I said they're yours and yours alone unless you choose to share them, but they're always still yours. Is maybe another way of saying that. Anything else at the moment?
Hi, it's Mike from the AP again. So
Hi.
obviously, maybe not obviously, but these folders, these collections are private until made public by the organization, whoever uploaded them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Do you want
correct?
me? Do you want me to explain how that works?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, because I'm
is
looking
there
at
a
this and I'm like,
follow-up?
I can't imagine our reporters were just like, here's all of our information.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So these are probably done in relationship with Google and AP. The way that it actually can happen though, is if you decide you want to make something public, of course you would get that approved before you put it anywhere. But what you would do, like what it actually looks like to publish a public collection is that you have to, you can't just publish it. You first, because your account will be connected to your name. It's not like you're posting as the AP, you are yourself. And so what you have to do is you have to say, I work for the AP, and then we have to go check that that's true. So that takes several days, sometimes even longer than that. And so there's something that happens on the Google backend where we go, okay, Mike says he works for the AP and he wants to publish his collection. So let's just go check that he does. I don't know what that process actually looks like. But once that is confirmed, you can then post as the AP. If you obviously the AP is already doing this, and I don't know who organizationally is doing that. But the one thing that I have had the engineering team recommend is that if there are multiple people that want to post as an organization, that you create a Pinpoint account like for that organization, right? But ostensibly multiple people could do so. So I don't know, that's not exactly what you were asking, but it's a little bit of just how it happens and kind of why these things are here.
Hi again. Super quick
Hi.
question. Don't
Mhm.
really have a like specific, like example of this happening, but just it's something that's been like drilled into a lot of us, which is thinking about what types of records are sort of like could be accessed via subpoena, or if we publish something that someone doesn't like and then they sue us. So I'm curious what the sort of like legal protections are about those sorts of things, especially if we wanted to then like delete some records that we might have published. Does Google cache these sorts of things? And like, what did those protocols look like?
Yeah. The short answer is I don't know for like the actually what happens. But what I can tell you is one, keep in mind that the security and privacy matches that of Gmail and Drive. So whatever you're comfortable or not comfortable doing there, it's the same for Pinpoint. And the other way that I've heard this question answered is Google is a law-abiding organization, and take that to mean what you will, ... right? I don't know the finer points of what happens when something is subpoenaed, but I think those are the key points to keep in mind. And if there are more specific questions, I'd be very happy to connect you with the product manager who can answer them more in depth. There's also like a good amount of that stuff under the FAQ that might help answer some of that more specifically. Cool. I'd love to show y'all, I want to show you the language settings, your workspace, and then some of those new features. I want to check, Kevin, is it okay if we just go maybe 5 minutes after the hour? Or is
Sure.
there a hard stop right at 3?
No, we're good.
Okay, cool. All right, language settings are up here. They're global. So entity display language essentially means my documents are in this language, and audio files, spoken languages, my audio and video files are in this language. If you have audio and video files in multiple languages, you can change this to match the one you're about to upload. So let's say you do an interview in English, first it's English, and the next interview you conduct is in Spanish, and you want that to also transcribe in Spanish. Just come here and change it before you upload that one so that it understands. Transcribe this in Spanish. Don't try to anglicize it, which won't be helpful. So you can do that there. Oh, and then, so there are fewer of these. It's about maybe 15 languages. We don't add new languages here unless we're confident that the transcription meets our quality threshold. So that essentially means they're very good. They're not perfect. I don't know of a transcription tool that is, but it's very, very good. And we don't release it here unless it's going to be good enough for your work. So I think that's just important to share. I'm going to go over to my workspace. These are where my collections live and where yours could live if you use it. You can see I just created all of these, and then I have some that were shared to me by colleagues. Or here, my friend Megan Chan. And I'm going to actually go into that one. So this is a collection of NASA documents largely related to the Apollo missions. And so we can see here that it's pulled out astronauts and presidents' names that are referenced quite a bit, organizations, Capcom, DoD, Houston, and Earth, which get talked about a lot, of course. And I want to show you just some of the things that it can find. So just to show you the handwriting, I've searched for the words Loomis and state, and Pinpoint has applied this green highlighter. So this one's easy to find. This one is, the handwriting's okay, but it's not great. It's sideways, it's cursive, it's still searchable. The other thing that's possible is if you have a document that's all handwriting or lots of handwriting, you can actually come in and copy and paste all of that. You can copy all of it and paste it into editable text. So it'll grab anything that it understands to be language and make it copyable for you. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment too. I want to show you this photo. So I've searched for STDN, which is a division within NASA, and it's pulled up this green highlighter on this photo, which is like, I think of it as Pinpoint kind of being like, oh, if you're searching for everything related to STDN, you might want to take a look at this photo because here is ostensibly the mission manager at his workstation. And the other thing, I'm going to go to a different version of this photo to just bring home what I was just describing, or is that? Station manager. So there's lots of text in this photo. We can't read a lot of it, but some of it is going to be copy and pasteable. So I've just been playing with this, and this is getting better and better. I want to get more of this. So I'm just dragging I'm trying to highlight as much as I can from this photo. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to open up a new document and just see what I got. And so I'm pasting in everything that is there. Whether that's helpful or not, I don't know. I mean, I think it's helpful generally and cool. I don't know what's here, but I can certainly now read through it. Whereas even if I blow this picture up and like zoom in on that, I'm never going to be able to read that screen. The technology isn't there, but it is pasteable through this particular tool. And here's one more example of that. So this is a photo of a sign on a wall at a law school, and everything in this tiny little sign, I'm doing the same thing. I'm copying it. I'm just going to paste it here, and we got the whole thing right away. So this would just be almost impossible to do any other way that I know of. But grabbing text off of a photo, and these are photos as we traditionally think of them, right? They're images, but a photo of a document, same thing. You can, if your source goes, you can see this, but you can't take it. If you take a photo of that, all of that will be pasteable to you, copy and pasteable. And again, same thing for handwriting. I don't have a great example of handwriting, but if you wrote a letter and you took a picture of it, you could then copy and paste all of that into editable text. Let me show you a transcription, and then I'm going to show you those two new features. I'm just going to go into here. So these are okay, let's see. This was a TikTok video. It was a piece of disinformation taken from a speech that Kamala Harris did actually make. And then whoever made it, I don't remember, turned it into a piece of disinformation. So what she said was that virtually every person in the hospital who's sick with COVID right now, she said they were unvaccinated. I've previously edited this, but they changed it to say that they were all vaccinated, right? So it's a piece of vaccine misinformation. But I downloaded this video, I uploaded it into Pinpoint. It transcribed really quickly. There are all of these breaks because she speaks like a politician, where she says a sentence or even part of a sentence and then pauses. So it will add in these little cuts every time there's a pause. It doesn't break out by speaker. And I could then go in and I could listen to what she said, and I can edit this transcript, and I can go, and I've done this previously, I can go make it correct. I can fix misspellings. I can clean it up essentially so that I have a good record of what was actually spoken that I can then share with a colleague, share publicly, whatever I need to do with it. And so if I were to click on one of those again, it's going to take me exactly where that is, which is more useful in a longer file. This is a short one, but still to get you exactly to like, I need to hear that quote again because that's what I'm putting in my story. It'll take you there. So that's a little bit of what that looks like. I want to show you that data extraction feature. Are there any questions just at the moment before I begin that one? Yes.
Just a quick clarification. You said with the transcripts, it in that case, it didn't break by speaker. Can it, does it have the ability to, you know, if there are multiple speakers, designate who is speaking when?
Unfortunately not. I hear that request a lot. I know how helpful it would be. I hear it a lot from broadcast folks. The team knows that journalists want it. I don't know where it is in the product pipeline, but it doesn't do that. It breaks at pauses. So you could edit it into like basically move it into a new doc and kind of start breaking it out by speaker, but it won't do that for you, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry for the confusion. So what I'm doing here is I've started a new collection. So this is just what it looks like. You begin somewhere. You can bring documents in from Drive. You can bring them in from your computer, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to bring in a very exciting set of files, which hopefully you know me well enough now to know they're not at all exciting. They are, when you Google a country, the like second result is the CIA World Fact Book. That's what these are. So they're just basic facts about 10 different countries. They are not exciting, but they are structured the same and they make for a reasonably good demo. So that's what we're doing. So they're all coming in. You can see how quickly they've uploaded. I'm already getting my extraction here on the right side, any names, any places, etc. Because they are of 10 different countries, everybody's only mentioned one time. And so that's just what it looks like as you build a collection to begin. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click to extract structured data. This is where the tutorial lives. So it's one thing to watch me do it. It's another thing to do it yourself. I had to watch the tutorial at least once to just get comfortable with it. So I just want to highlight where that is. And so what I'm doing here is I'm telling Pinpoint, go ahead and process these documents as PDFs that are structured the same because I'm about to extract them all at the same time. So that's just what it's doing right now. We call out the tutorial again. This shouldn't take very long. I need some Jeopardy music. And so I'm gonna go annotate this collection now and it will open up, as best I can tell, any one of these at random. If you have a document that's sort of your best version of documents, we call that the golden document, and you can go pick it, which is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do the United States. You can also do this like along the way. You get started with one and you realize, oh, this isn't the best one. And the best one might not necessarily be the shortest or the cleanest. It might actually be the weirdest looking one because everything else will be simpler to extract from there. So what I'm going to do here is what we saw just a little bit earlier, just draw some boxes. I'm annotating key value pairs. I'm correcting this one. I'm making these boxes really big because on some of my documents, these pieces of data might be longer than the ones that are here. Like I know I have Afghanistan in my collection and maybe that is a longer word than United States. And so I just want to show you what's happening as I'm annotating this one, it's pulling all of this same information off of all of them at the same time. So I don't have to go annotate all of them, just the one. If they're structured the same, it'll do them all together. I'm going to also pull off a table. So here is this truly thrilling piece of information, largest cities. Again, I know it's not that exciting to watch somebody draw a lot of boxes on a document, but if it's clear what's happening, then it will get better. So I've made this, I knew that this table was longer, so I just kept dragging it out. And then what's happened here again, to just show you at the bottom, largest cities, I annotated the US, but here they all are for Afghanistan. Here they are for Brazil. It's pulling off the same information from all of these. They don't have to be the same size. They don't have to have the same like number of lines. It's smart enough to understand this whole section on every document is what you want. So that's what it's giving me. And then if I want to extract them, which I do, I'm going to have downloaded a set of CSV files, which I'm just going to open up and show you what they look like real quick. You all with me so far? I know we've been together a long time. So I have a blank spreadsheet. I'm going to bring in just one of these for funsies. And here's our files. So largest cities. And then I'm going to hold my breath. And there it all is. So this is everything we just pulled off of those PDFs. We only have to do one and we get all of it. Here's all the largest cities in those 10 countries. And from here, I can start to work with this, right? Now I can sort A to Z. Now I can go look for anomalies. I can go to what I really like, this validation link. This is going to take me to the exact place in the document where this piece of data comes from. So I can go see it in context, especially if it looks weird, what is said about it, right? It doesn't have to be data just like this. It could be police reports where there's handwriting. It will pull all of that off too. So all the things that we saw earlier that the tool can do still applies to this feature. So you may have a field in a spreadsheet where there are like paragraphs of descriptions, and it can all still come off of there and turn itself into something workable for you. So that's what that looks like. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? Is that something that you might be able to use? Okay, I got one head nodding. I'll take it. Thank you. Thumbs up. All right, and then lastly, I know we're a little bit over, and this is the last thing I'm going to show you, is that the generative AI feature. So that was extracting structured data. I'm going to go back into my collections.
Sorry
and again,
to interrupt. Can I ask
yeah,
you a
yeah,
really quick question?
Please.
This presumably because of the handwriting, this seems like common sense, but I just want to make sure this will work on like when you request records from a government entity and they scan you things. So it's like it's a
Yes.
not searchable PDF. It will work on that too.
100%. Exactly.
That's awesome. Thank you.
It is awesome. Yeah. Absolutely. Whatever format it's in, if there are characters on it, they can be found and they can be extracted. Yes, did you have a question? Or are you just holding no, yeah, please.
I just wanted to make one product request for live transcription. So if maybe
yeah, just like start doing it as they're talking.
Yeah,
totally. I can show you one tool that can do that. It might not be exactly what you have in mind, but it exists right now, which is in Google Docs under tools, voice typing. So you could open up a new doc. So you could open up a new doc and it would start typing as the words were spoken. So can you see that happening there? So that, again, might not be exactly what you're looking for, but I think you could, like if a speech is on TV, potentially open up a doc on your laptop and put it right next to it and let it work. Might not be perfect, but it might be a good start. I will note your request though. Thank you. Okay, where was I? Generative AI. So I'm in this collection of Federalist Papers, again, extremely newsy in 2024, but we're gonna search through them. Pretend this is a bunch of documents that we don't know what's in here yet. So I'm just going to ask the AI, what are key themes in this collection? And this is my other tab in my right-hand sidebar. So if I click on this, I still see this one we're familiar with now, but because I have this beta, I can click on this little diamond and it's gonna work on my question. And so it's giving me, I have show sources turned on. Let's turn it off so you can see what that is. It makes them purple. And so it's telling me the key theme in the Federalist Papers from the 1700s is the importance of a strong central government to the security of the United States. And if I want to know, where did you get that AI? I don't know if I trust you. I can just click on it and it's going to take me to, in this paper, here's where we pulled some of that from, right? So always like the showing sources, the validation link, really important to the things that we're doing because we want to go, where does that information come from? I need to go see it in context. And then I can now ask a question of this document. I'm just going to boringly ask who is the author. And the author of this one is John Jay. Of course, we can see that here, but this one is all very clearly called out, but sometimes an author will be buried somewhere in the paper and this is going to do its best to find it for you. So I can ask questions of my whole collection Again, up to 200,000 documents. Maybe you just got them all. It's going to take you a week to read them. Maybe you'll never read them. There's just too many, and that's not how you do that work. This can help you just start to make sense of and find things in that collection that are useful to you. And you can ask questions of a single document as well, which is what happened in that second use case. Okay, that's everything. What do y'all have for me? Questions, comments?
I think you've run them dry
Cool.
here, Mary.
I know
Um,
that happens. I see it on your faces, which is like, we have now taken in too much information. This is a QR code for a survey. If you are willing, I'd love your feedback just on this training. What'd you think of it? And I just want to say thank you for your time, and thanks Kevin and Ann for letting me join you, and thanks for the work that you do. Really, it's important, and I'm glad that you're doing it.
Well, many thanks, Mary. You've reloaded the toolbox for everybody here. And
Is it spilling over?
no, and a reminder that I should have paid closer attention while I was at USA Today. So,
But here we are now.
but thank
It's all
you.
good.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, y'all. You have a good afternoon. Thanks again.